All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of the City of Los Angeles Board of Public Works. It is Wednesday, November 10, 2021. Thank you. It's good to see everybody. Dr. Compost, we have quorum.
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing quorum and roll call for today. We have President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioners Caloza and Villegas. Mr. President, you do have quorum at this time. Currently, we have one caller on the line under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section. We also received one Google comment under general public comment that has been distributed to all commissioners this morning. And again, no commentary or no speakers on the line for any of the regular items for today's agenda.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead then, Dr. Campos, and hear general public comment.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. Caller ending in 682. Caller ending in 682. If you can please unmute your microphone by pressing *6. The Board of Public Works is now considering general public comment. You will have 2 minutes to speak under this section. If you can please state your name and please go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Tom Williams, President of Citizens Coalition for a Safe Community and member of the LA 32 Land Use and Planning Committee. We're quite concerned that some of our stakeholders have complained that the bike path along Huntington Drive North between Tourmaline and Monterey Road are dangerous because there's been no trimming back of vegetation within the road right away. So we're quite concerned about people using the bike lanes and having to swerve to avoid running into brush that's extending into the bike lanes, and thereby causing or potentially causing accidents between bicycle riders going in the same direction and approaching traffic, which usually does around 42 miles an hour along those sections. So we'd really like to get the brush cleared back. If the city won't do it, then some of our residents, stakeholders want to do it themselves, which would put pedestrians into the bike lanes and further complicate the entire process from basically Tourmaline and or Soto Mission Road to Monterey Road. So we'd like to get that done. This is the second time I think I've made it as a public comment. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Are there any more callers for public comment, Dr. Campos?
No, there isn't. This clears the public commentary, and we can go ahead and close this section out if that's okay with you, Mr. President.
Yep, public comment is officially closed. Let's go now to item number 1, or actually we'll take the minutes from Friday, October 22nd, 2021. I will motion to approve those minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any concerns or objections, Villegas, Caloza, or Garcia? Okay. With no objections, the minutes from Friday, October 22, 2021 are approved and adopted forthwith. That brings us to item 1. Item 1 is the receipt of bids. Actually, before we start item 1, I just want to do some housekeeping and let folks know that we are going to, we are withdrawing at the request of the Bureau of Engineering, item number 2. Item number 2 is withdrawn. So let's go in lieu of item number 3, in case anyone was wondering. Let's go back to item 1. Item 1 will be the receipt of bids for the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Ancillary Warehouse Facility Installation, CIP 6236, work order SZD 11366, estimated cost. Hey, Matthew. Estimated cost is $4,490,000. $4,490,600, and this project is in CD6. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning again, Mr. President. We'll go ahead and start the bid openings for the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant and Ancillary Warehouse Facility Installation Project. Again, this is in Council District 6. We did receive 3 bids for this project. The first bid received for this project is from Metro Builders and Engineers Group Limited for a total bid amount of $6,569,650 even. That's 6569650 from Metro Builders and Engineers Group Limited. The second bid received for this project is from Ford EC Incorporated for a total bid amount of $5,969,500 even. That's 5969500 from Ford EC Incorporated. The third and final bid received for this project is from Green Building Corporation for a total bid amount of $5,999,500 even. That's 5999500 from Green Building Corporation. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for this project and for all bids for this agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Thank you, Matthew. Do I have a motion to receive and accept these bids?
So moved.
I'll take President Pro Tem Davis with a second from Commissioner Villegas. We'll wait for Dr. Campos and we'll take a roll call vote. Good morning, Ms. Simons. Good morning, Mr. Malice.
Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Villegas to receive, open, and declare the bid this morning. We will go ahead and take the vote at this time. Mr. President?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Colonna?
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas?
Aye.
Thank you. This motion is adopted. It carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this to go forthwith?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so again, we've withdrawn item 2. That brings us to item 3. Item 3 is task order solicitation number 56, IBI Group Architecture Planning, pre-qualified on-call consultants list, citywide maintenance yard facilities assessment, optimization and consolidation, phase 1, task A, South Los Angeles Civic Center surrounding communities project. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to IBI Group Architecture Planning from the pre-qualified on-call architectural and related professional services consultants list to provide architectural and planning services for the citywide maintenance yard facilities assessment, optimization, and consolidation phase 1, task A, South Los Angeles Civic Center surrounding communities project as stated in TOS number 56 with a budget authority of $2,762,000, including contingency subject to the mayor's approval of the capital improvement expenditure program funds. Mr. Shaw is with us, I believe, on the item.
Actually, it's...
Oh, no, Mr. Malice. Sorry, forgive me, sir.
Yeah, no
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. So to provide a background, the City of LA has approximately 133 individual and shared maintenance and service yard facilities throughout the city. These yards provide vital, uninterrupted services to city residents and are critical infrastructure for the operating departments. But a number of these yards, however, are outdated and require significant repairs and or capital improvements and are operating at capacity. The city seeks to identify strategies to improve the collective and individual operation efficiency of the city's yards inventory. To do so, the city needs to assess the condition and capacity of these facilities, including the needed repairs and capital improvements, needed changes to existing coverage areas, opportunities for yard shop consolidations within bureaus, among bureaus, or with other public yards and shops, and efficiencies at these facilities. This information will assist in the development of a city-wide yards and shops master plan, which the city will implement based on priorities and available resources. This task order solicitation focused on providing the necessary assessments on a total of 51 yards and shops in the following geographic areas. Selected yards adjacent to the Los Angeles River, that's Group 1, and that's 12 yards. Yards in the South LA region and Council Districts 8, 9, and 10, and those are 13 yards. And then the third group is the yards in the Civic Center and its surrounding communities within a 3-mile radius. That's 26 yards. So as part of this first phase, we'll be doing 51 yards out of the 133, and we're going to be focusing on those 3 groups. And the primary objectives for the proposed scope of work is to identify capital improvements, identify opportunities for consolidation of city yards or within other public yards and shops, identify the need and our opportunities for improved technology, and identify the optimum utilization of sites. In regards to the summary of selections and negotiations, January 24, 2020, BOE received 1 proposal response for this task order from IBI in the amount of $2.4 million. Since IBI was the sole bidder on this project and there was no interview. We did some negotiations with them going back and forth, but in the process of negotiating the proposal, we asked them to submit a cause to include an additional site as part of this task order, which entails performing a space analysis for potential uses for various city departments at 1925 North Mariana Avenue. And this space studies analysis performed by IBI consisted of analyzing the core operations of 4 agencies, Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation, Bureau of Street Services, Department of Transportation, and LAPD, based on the current and future needs. So at the time when we had this original, because there's been some time that has passed, we didn't proceed with this original scope of the groups 1, 2, and 3 yards because funding was limited at the time. So we did proceed with this small, this 1 yard, which is the Mariana Avenue yard space study. And they submitted a proposal for that. And the mayor authorized an exemption to the cost containment memorandum in January of 2021 to allow us to execute the small contract with IBI to perform the space study. But now that we do have funding, we are proceeding with groups 1, 2, and 3. So in terms of the negotiated proposal amount, they submitted a proposed amount of $2.9 million for groups 1, 2, and 3 and the North Mariana Avenue space study. We reduced it by $299,000. Now the negotiated amount was $2.6 million. In terms of the business inclusion program, for this task order, the IBI is pledging a MIBI level of 51.79%, WBE participation level of 0%, an SBE participation level of 40.21%, an EBE participation level of 9.91%, and a DBBE participation level of 5.2%. The reason why the WBE levels are 0 for this task is because this scope is very specialized and ultimately limits the number of firms who can provide services for this work, and unfortunately, none of the firms who provided support for the project were WBE. However, it should be noted that the MIBI levels are 3 times the anticipated participation levels, and the SBE, EBE, and DVBE levels have exceeded the minimum anticipated participation levels. Funding for this task order will consist of capital, CIEP funds, and we do have the funding available.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. Let's open this up for conversation. Vice President Garcia, why don't you kick us off?
Great. Thank you very much, President Good, and good morning to everyone. Mr. Malice, nice to see you again. Mr. Malice, can you tell us why we only had 1 bidder, or why do you think only 1 bidder submitted their proposal to this? It was an RFP or a task order? I think it was
a task order solicitation.
Okay.
We think that the reason why we actually did outreach to all the different bidders, the reason why only 1 bidder bid on this project is because at the time, many other bidders were tied up with other projects. And also this is a space study type of analysis, which is not the forte of a lot of the different architects who are on the list that we've used. So that's it automatically limited the pool of people participating, and the fact that the firms that could participate were busy at the time. IBI would just happen to be the sole bidder.
Got it. Thank you for that. I understand that this is a very specialized type of assessment, but it's also very exciting to see the results and what we can do in the future with our city properties, and how we can either maximize them or make sure that we can return them back to the community. I mean, all of that is great. So I'm excited, and hopefully we get to see the end of these assessments. So happy to do this. Thank you, Mr. Malice. I appreciate your time. And that's all from me, President Good.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yes, could you elaborate? I understand that this is a subspecialty where we probably don't have a lot of women providers of work in this area, or I did not hear what you told me in terms of minority business enterprises. Were they a part of this, or is this a federally funded project and we're doing disadvantaged businesses and other things? Could you kind of discuss that particular phase of the report for me, if you don't mind?
Yes. So for the minority business enterprises, we actually have a large participation level of 52%.
Oh, wow.
79%. And it was 3 times the anticipated level of the good faith level that we have asked as part of the business inclusion program. The reason why the WBEs aren't there is because just inherently only one bidder bid on the project, and the scope of work is just limited in terms, specialized in just the subs, just coincidentally who bid on this project or had the niche to do this happen to not be a WBE. But the good news is that we do have good participation with SBE, EBE, and DVBE higher than the anticipated levels. But then, of course, the WEBE is 3 times the amount. Or sorry, the MBE is 3 times the amount.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So just,
I understand in terms of data that we get a different output for every project that we present. And oftentimes, timing also has some play in terms of the results we get as far as data is concerned, because some contractors, for example, could be tied up on another project at the time, even though they are available and have the subspecialty that we are seeking. So I definitely understand that kind of every tub stands on its own bottom when we go out to seek or receive proposals for a bid. So I recognize that.
thank you, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you for your report. Just wanted a clarification. You mentioned a space study over at 1925 North Mariana Avenue, and obviously looking that area up. I do remember that we did I think it's the LAPD, site that's on that property. And I just wanted to know for clarification, what is the reason for that when that project is currently getting, I think it's either it's already built or it was getting, built. Is it just to contemplate? I think there was another lot that the city was contemplating and purchasing, or if you can just provide some more information.
Yeah, so that lot that we're talking about, it's split up in 2. There's one where it's the LAPD CATS building that's there on the south side, and I think that's what you're referring to. And then the north side of that parcel is vacant. And that's the portion of that parcel that we're looking at to do a space study where we can co-locate 4 different departments, looking at co-locating 4 different departments and spacing. So ultimately, that was the purpose of it, to create maybe some parking, a large parking structure to compensate vehicles that are overflowing from the surrounding yards.
Okay, I appreciate the narrative and more context for that. I don't have any further questions. I think that my colleagues asked questions that I had as well, but you provided additional information for me. I appreciate the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Commissioner Closa.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Mahis. Thanks to my colleagues for their additional questions as well. I'm really looking forward to, the results of what this assessment is going to look like. I think we'll see a lot of opportunities about how we can utilize the space, especially along the LA River, and efficiencies that we can even utilize this assessment for as it relates to the different yards and shops that our various city departments have, right? I'm really excited for this. I don't have any questions for Mr. Malhis. I think my colleagues did a great job asking questions, and I'll just conclude in thanking BOE for their work on this, and also our board unit and Dr. Campos. I know there was a level of complexity in agendizing this item because it's an item that has had some changes in the past year due to availability and funding. Last year, of course, we had cost containment, and so that's the reason why we re-agendized it all together, because the board report had changed. So just wanted to add a little bit more context to that, but thanks everyone for your work on this, and look forward to seeing the findings.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa. Yeah, I would echo that. This is long overdue, and it is exciting. We're dealing with space issues on myriad fronts, obviously, and so this is great. And I think the areas of initial focus are important as well, for what that's worth. So I don't have any follow-up questions. Or actually, I do, and Nura may have missed this in the report. What's the anticipated timeline on this TOS being completed?
Well, 18 months.
18 months. Yeah, I mean, it's complex work, that's for sure.
I had one funding question I forgot to ask. Is that okay, Mr. President, after you finish?
Of course, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was asking about the funding. We don't have any redevelopment kinds of funds and stuff that we can get from this or for these kind of projects, do we, sir?
That's something I would have to look into in more detail. What we're doing right now is we're using CIEP funds, but in terms of finding other funding sources to be able to pay for this, that's something I would have to look for and report back.
I know we had some issue with regard to discontinuing CRA. In some ways, and in the past, before that, there were ways in which projects which, to some degree had common good, some of those were used, I thought, to reach out to get funding in that regard. I do realize there was an abuse of some of that money as well, but I was just curious to see the flow of funding that you could get and to acquire to complete a project like this.
Right, I'm sure there's many other funding sources. When we actually get into implementation of this is just a planning portion, but when we actually do the actual hard costs of the capital repairs and a reorganization, it's going to be a large amount, which we'll definitely look for grant applications and other types of sources to supplement it.
Okay.
And there are definitely, yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, President Davis. All right, I'll take a motion to move the item forward.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Dr. Campos, can we take a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely, Mr. President. There's been a motion by Commissioner Colosa, seconded by Commissioner Garcia, to adopt the report on item number 3 and refer it to the mayor for his consideration. We'll go ahead and take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Colosa?
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas?
Aye.
Thank you. This motion is adopted and is carried unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this item to go forward forthwith?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Morales. Appreciate it. Good luck with the work.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go, folks, to item number 4. Item number 4 is a one-time purchase order. I think this brings us Miss Simons. One-time purchase order, primary sedimentation tank covers, primary batteries B and C, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, recommending the board, 1, authorize the purchase of covers for existing primary sedimentation tanks located in primary battery B at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant with a maximum cost of $2,900,000, including taxes, shipping, and handling. 2, authorize the purchase of covers for existing primary sedimentation tanks located in primary battery C at HWRP with a maximum cost of $2,200,000, including taxes, shipping, and handling. 3, authorize the director and general manager of the Bureau of Sanitation to direct the Department of General Services to exercise the clause in one-time purchase order 21000302132 to purchase additional quantities at the same price, terms, and conditions for all covers of the same dimensions. And 4, authorize the director and general manager of the Bureau of Sanitation to direct the Department of General Services to create a sole source OPO, one-time purchase order, for the vendor Halston, Inc. for this purchase. Ms. Simons, are you hearing this?
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Good morning, President Good and all members of the Board of Public Works. I'm Sherry Simons. I'm an environmental engineer in the Process Control Engineering Group at Hyperion. And I'd like to start by giving a brief description on the operation of the sedimentation tank, which helps demonstrate the function and necessity of this purchase. At Hyperion, the sewage is first screened to remove large debris and then flows into the primary sedimentation tanks, which are large rectangular underground tanks that operate in parallel. And Hyperion has 27 tanks, and they're divided up into 4 batteries, batteries A, B, C, and D. Battery B has 6 tanks, and battery C has 5 tanks. And each of these tanks is 300 by 60 by 15 feet deep, and each one holds about 1 million gallons. So when the sewage enters these tanks, its velocity and turbulence decrease, and the heavy organic and inorganic solids settle to the bottom, and floatable material such as grease or plastic, it rises to the top. And an internal chain of flight system scrapes the settled solids to a sump at the head of the tank, and at the same time gathers the floatable material in a trough near the back end of the tank. That material, the solids and the grease, is then pumped to the solids handling processes for further treatment, and that treated sewage collects in the launders in the back of the tank and continues to the secondary treatment process for additional biological treatment. So these tanks, they have access covers over those sludge sumps, grease collection troughs, and the effluent launders. And in addition to access, the covers also provide safety for Hyperion operations and maintenance staff working on and around the equipment on deck. And they're also critical to the cellular treatment system in that they contain foul odors and they prevent them from escaping. So each of these tanks has about 4,000, and they're about 40 total. The existing covers, they've been in service for about 15 to 20 years, and that they're at the end of their useful lives. And they have severe corrosion, and that undermines their structural strength and poses a safety concern. In addition, the corrosion causes warping, and it prevents the covers from sealing in the odors. So Hyperion Maintenance, they initiated a multi-year project to replace the covers. And in fiscal year 2021, new tank covers were purchased for primary battery A, and they're in the process of being installed. Now, in this fiscal year 2021-22, we're looking to purchase new covers for primary batteries B and C. Now, for the purchase of the covers for primary battery A, the Board of Public Works authorized LA Sand to direct the Department of General Services to solicit bids. And Halston Inc. was awarded the one-time purchase order, or OPO, through a competitive bid process, and that was on May 21st, 2021. In the terms and conditions of the OPO, the city has the option to purchase additional quantities at the same prices and terms and conditions, providing the city exercises the option by May 19th of 2022. So there's a one-year time frame to do this. The primary batteries B and C covers over the troughs and the launders, they're the same dimensions as the ones in primary battery A. And where we're requesting those to be purchased as additional quantities. Now, the tanks in primary batteries B and C, they have covers over the sludge sumps, which primary battery A doesn't have. Those covers have different layouts and dimensions and cannot be purchased as additional quantities. So LA San is requesting approval for GSD to award a sole source OPO to Halston to provide the sump covers. And that'll help maintain standardization, and also Halston was the only bidder to respond to supply covers for primary battery A, so this will also expedite the purchase. And that portion of the total project represents about 6 to 7% of the total project cost. And this project, it was approved by PRC, the Program Review Committee, as part of Hyperion's Capital Equipment Replacement Program for fiscal years 1920 and 2021. And this purchase has no impact on the general fund. And this impact, the total cost is not to exceed $5,100,000, and that those funds are available in the Sewer Capital Fund. You know, if there are any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Simons. Let's see, President Pro Tem Davis, any questions?
No questions for me on this one.
Thank you, sir. Vice President Garcia?
No questions from me either. Thank you very much, Ms. Simons.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your report, Ms. Simons. I thought it was very detailed, and I know this is an important replacement and purchase that we need to make at Hyperion, so I don't have any questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa, and Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you. I don't have any questions either. Yeah, I think I know a little too much now of the details of Hyperion. Just, serving also on the ad hoc committee. So hearing your report, I understand what's going on. Appreciate your information today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, Ms. Simons, I've seen these tank covers in B and C, and the corrosion is pretty visible. I mean, there's some that won't even open at this point, correct? I mean,
yeah.
where we can't lift them. I mean, the tanks are still functioning underneath, but where we can't lift the covers, right?
Yeah, the concern is that the corrosion is so severe, if they were to try to lift the cover on one end, that it could drop.
Oh, well, that's...
And if it were to slip into a tank that's in service, because these covers are so large, that tank would have to be taken out of service in order to retrieve that tank, because it would break that internal chain and fight system that's in the tank.
That would be lovely, and clearly something to avoid. So, but just to be clear, so folks the public are aware, particularly in light of some recent developments at Hyperion on July 11th. The tanks below are working and functioning, and the corrosion of these covers is preemptive rather than reactive, in other words.
Yes. There are access covers. Tanks are still functioning. It's to improve safety and foul air containment.
All of which has to happen, absolutely. But I just wanted to clarify there. And so no one else bid on this back when we did round A, huh?
Halston was the only one that supplied a bid.
That's pretty specialized stuff. Okay. All right. I'm good. Ms. Simons, I will motion to move the item forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll take Villegas's and Davis's seconds. We get 2 seconds. Lots of enthusiasm for sewage tank covers. Dr. Campos, you want to take a roll call, please, sir?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Good and seconded by Commissioners Villegas and Davis to adopt item number 4. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good,
Aye.
Vice President Garcia,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza,
Aye.
and Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider this item to go forthwith?
Please, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
Ms.
much.
Simons. It's good to see you. Okay. Let's go nowhere because we are staying at Hyperion right now. And to item number 5. Item number 5 is construction order, JFJ Construction Inc., Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Emergency Effluent Pumping Plant, recommending the board authorize the execution of the construction order for this work to JFJ Construction Inc. in the amount not to exceed $7,530,000, including contingency. Mr. Nadir Shah is with us on the item. Good morning, Mr. Shah.
Good morning. Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. In response to the July 11, 2021 sewage spill at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, BOE initiated Capital Improvement Project 2514 at Effluent Pumping Plant after receiving email authorization from Commissioner Caloza to use the emergency pre-qualified on-call list with a not to exceed amount of $500,000 after preliminary scope was established. On August 5, 2021, BOE received second email authorization from Commissioner Caloza for additional funding in the amount of $1 million for a revised not to exceed amount of $1.5 million. The scope of work was further developed, and on August 26, 2021, BOE received third email authorization from Commissioner Caloza for additional funding in the amount of $6,030,000 for a revised not to exceed amount of $7,530,000. This funding will allow JF Shia, the contractor for CIP 2514, to restore 5 effluent pumps, Los Angeles Wastewater Integrated Network System, distributed control system components, permanent life safety and air conditioning systems, and associated equipment. The assessment of repairs needed at the effluent pumping plant is still in progress. To date, 80% of construction work has been completed. On September 8, 2021, the Program Review Committee approved the revised construction budget of $7.53 million for the project. BOE moved that the board authorize the execution of construction orders for this work to JF Shia in the amount not to exceed $7,530,000, including contingency. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Appreciate that. Vice President Garcia, questions or any questions?
Thank you, President Good. Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for your report. I actually do not have any questions on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. President Pro Tem Davis?
Yeah, Mr. Shaw, what's our timeline on this project?
So at this time, we expect that by end of January, we should be 100% complete for the construction on this project, 100%.
Parenthetical ASAP.
Yeah, ASAP. I mean, it's emergency, and the contractor, they're doing everything. But sometimes, if we have to procure some component, which will mean some delays in terms of shipping or installation, but it's done ASAP. That's why I haven't said that the end of January, but at the current pace, we should be done sooner than January or by January end at the most.
And we're making progress on those delays in shipping too, right? So,
Expedited.
that's right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I'm good on this item. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Closa.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions either. Just want to thank BOE and LA Sand for working together to quickly mobilize our contractor. That's why these lists are important. You know, they have quite an operation over there responding to what happened, and the work is ongoing, as we just heard. So thanks to the entire city team for your collective work on this.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And Commissioner Closes out there spending money left and right. No, and utterly necessary. So thank you, Commissioner, for being on the ready in really critical times. We don't have time to dig in, if you will, but for the public, these pumps are, I mean, they're crucial to the functioning of this plant and to ensuring that our secondary effluent is meeting state and federal standards. And so this is really, really vital. I joke about ASAP, but I know that y'all are on this ASAP, and so thanks. Let's get it done, and thank you, Commissioner Closa. Well, actually, everybody for being on the ready and moving quick. So I'll take a motion to move the item forward quickly.
Moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
I'm going to take both seconds. We have 2 seconds, Dr. Campos. Let's take a roll call, sir.
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Caloza, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Villegas to adopt item number 5. We'll take the vote at this time, and that is ASAP, by the way. President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Caloza.
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous ASAP as well.
I was going to say, at the risk of being master of the obvious, Dr. Campos, we will move this forthwith, please.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Kang. Let's get it going. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Okay. That brings us, folks, to item number 6. Item number 6 is specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids for a project in CD8, CD9, CD10. This is secondary sewer renewal program. Speaking of wastewater, secondary sewer renewal program D, CON 07B, and that's H17A-E. Work order SZC 14227. Estimated cost of this will be $2,974,271, and the bid receipt date would be, if approved, January 5th, 2022. I will motion to approve the solicitation of these bids. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Calosa. Dr. Campos, do you want to take a roll call, please, sir?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Caloza to adopt item number 6. Vote tabulation will be President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza.
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, could we consider this forthwith?
Please, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's go to almost the partner project here. Item number 7, specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. This is in CD4. CD5, this is secondary sewer renewal program D, CON 02C, E20, work order SZC 14228. Estimated cost $1,678,654, and if approved, the bid receipt date would be January 12, 2022. I will take a motion to approve this item.
Move.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Dr. Campos, can you please take a roll?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Garcia, seconded by Commissioner Villegas to adopt item number 7. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Caloza?
Aye.
And Commissioner Villegas?
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, again, would you like to consider this item to go forth with?
Please, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Campos, I think we've cleared the decks, no?
Yes, you have.
All right. Impressive, efficient work, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is officially adjourned. Enjoy, recognize, and embrace Veterans Day tomorrow. And think about those who have served us in the past and today and in the future. So thank you all. Have a great holiday tomorrow. We'll see you Friday morning. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, y'all.